I've seen so many people jump on a cheap massage chair that looks sleek on the showroom floor, only to end up with a piece of furniture that rattles, leaves the lower back untouched, and ends up collecting dust after a week. That regret spending a few $100s on a gimmick and still needing weekly spa appointments makes the decision to spend a little more feel like a gamble. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The question is whether the Nouhaus NOU Campo heated massage chair actually bridges that gap between a flashy promise and a genuinely useful recovery tool. When I started looking into full-body recliners, the first thing I asked myself was how much of my current routine could I replace? I'm a freelance graphic designer who spends long hours hunched over a laptop, so my back, shoulders, and hips are constantly under tension. I tried a few budget models that advertised deep tissue, but they either didn't reach the lumbar curve or the motor whined so loudly I couldn't have a video call while it ran. That made me wonder if a higher-priced chair could finally give me a quiet, comprehensive massage that actually feels like a therapist's hands, without needing a separate heating pad or a foot massager. The NOU Campo's design immediately sets it apart. It's the kind of aesthetic you'd expect from a modern living room piece, not a medical device. The award-winning silhouette isn't just for looks. The recliner's frame follows the natural curvature of the spine, so when you settle in, the massage nodes line up with the vertebrae rather than pressing against a flat surface. In practice, that means the lower back gets a gentle, rolling pressure that feels more like a real kneading motion, and the upper shoulders receive a more targeted tap that loosens the tension from hours at a desk. One of the most practical strengths is the 7 massage modes, each of which you can tweak for intensity and speed. I spent a Sunday afternoon testing the shiatsu mode on a high setting while watching a movie. The chair's rollers moved in a synchronized pattern that mimicked a professional's finger pressure, and the heat element warmed the lower back within 2 minutes. By the time the movie ended, the soreness in my lumbar region had noticeably lessened, and I didn't need to schedule a separate heat therapy session later that week. For people who already subscribe to weekly massages or regular physiotherapy, that ability to combine heat and multi-level pressure in one chair could shave a few appointments off the calendar. On the other side, the footrest adjustment is a subtle but significant feature. The chair lets you raise or lower the foot platform independently, which is useful if you have uneven leg length or just want to prop your feet higher while you read. I found it especially handy during a marathon gaming session. The footrest stayed at a comfortable angle without forcing my calves into an awkward stretch. However, the footrest's range isn't as wide as some high-end models that can fully extend into a zero-gravity position. If you're looking for that exact sensation of floating where the legs are fully elevated to reduce blood pressure, you might feel a slight shortfall. Noise is another frequent complaint in this category. Many mid-range chairs use cheap motors that clank with each stroke, turning a relaxing session into an unintentionally loud experience. The NOU Campo runs on a quieter motor system, and during my test, the ambient sound stayed under conversational level. I could keep a podcast playing in the background without the chair stealing the mic. That's a real win for anyone sharing a living space or trying to unwind after a noisy day. Space and setup are practical concerns that often get glossed over. The chair's footprint is about the size of a standard recliner, so it fits comfortably against a wall in most living rooms. The assembly required only a few bolts and a short instruction sheet, no need for a professional technician. If you're moving apartments frequently, the ability to disassemble without special tools is a relief. The downside is that the base is slightly heavier than a typical recliner, so maneuvering it through narrow doorways can be a chore. It's not something you'd want to tuck into a cramped studio without measuring first. Control simplicity matters because a complicated remote can ruin the relaxation experience. The NOU Campo uses an intuitive touch panel that lets you switch modes, adjust intensity, and toggle heat with a single swipe. There's also a quick access button for favorite settings, which I set to a medium intensity roll with heat for my daily post-work routine. The panel is backlit, making it easy to use in a dim room, but the lack of a dedicated app means you can't control it from your phone. If you're a tech-savvy user who expects Bluetooth integration, that might feel limiting. Who should consider buying this chair? If you're someone who already spends money on regular massages, physical therapy, or even a daily sauna, the NOU Campo can serve as a high-quality backup that covers multiple modalities in one piece.